Dear students, today's topic is revaluation of assets and liabilities. Revaluation of assets and reassessment of liabilities at the time of change in profit sharing ratio. Assets are revalued and the liabilities are reassessed when the profit sharing ratio changes and the gain or loss arising from each is credited or debited to partner's capital account. The reason for revaluation of assets and reassessment of liabilities is that any increase or decrease in the value of assets and liabilities up to the date of change in profit sharing ratio is for the period before the change in profit sharing ratio. Therefore, it is shared by the partners in their old profit sharing ratio. Revaluation of assets and liabilities is required at the time of reconstitution of partnership. The reason behind the revaluation of assets and liabilities is that the realizable value or actual value of assets and liabilities may be different from those shown in the balance sheet. With the passage of time, the value of assets may increase or decrease, and no record might have been made of such changes in the books of accounts. For recording these changes, revaluation of assets is done, revaluation of assets and reassessment of liabilities is done, and that change should be shared by the partners in their old profit sharing ratio. There are two methods to record the effect of revaluation of assets and reassessment of liabilities. First, record revised values of assets and liabilities in the books of the firm. Second, not to record the revised values of assets and liabilities in the books of the firm. First, when revised values of assets and liabilities are to be recorded, that means the adjustment is made by opening a revaluation account. Revaluation of assets and reassessment of liabilities are recorded in an account titled revaluation account. Under this method, revaluation of assets and liabilities is made through a separate account known as revaluation account. This account is also known as profit and loss adjustment account. Revaluation account is credited with increased or appreciated value of the assets and decreased value of liabilities. It is credited with increased value of the assets and decreased value of the liabilities. And it is debited with decreased value of the assets and increased value of the liabilities. Revaluation account is credited with increased value of assets and decreased value of liabilities, and debited with decreased value of assets and increased value of liabilities. Increase in the value of assets and decrease in the amount of liabilities are credited to revaluation account, and decrease in value of assets and increase in amount of liabilities are debited to revaluation account. It also records the unrecorded assets and liabilities. Unrecorded assets and liabilities means assets and liabilities not given in the balance sheet, not shown in the balance sheet. Unrecorded assets are credited and unrecorded liabilities are debited. After recording all these transactions of assets and liabilities, the balancing of revaluation account is done and balance is transferred to partners, capital account or current account in old profit sharing ratio. If the total of debit side is more, it means that there is a loss. And if the total of credit side is more, it means that there is a profit.